Hey, everybody. Thank you in advance for listening all the way through this episode. You're going to wanna, because we'll have a come to Buffy moment with Sarah Michelle Gellar.
And you're also going to find out what documentary you must be watching during this holiday season. And I'll give you a little bit of a hint. It's not about fast love. Enjoy the show, everyone.
Well, good day and good evening and whatever the heck time it is where you are. Hi, you guys. It's us.
It's our Christmas episode. I realized I should have wore my reindeer antlers like I think I did one year.
I wore a snowman pin
Oh, I like it.
for the occasion.
That's perfect. I probably shouldn't be looking at your cleavage.
Well, I like how you tease the crowd by saying, hey, you can see her cleavage also by watching us on YouTube. And then the grand disappointment of, there's no cleavage.
But that's how we get the people from Brazil to watch.
Oh, heck yeah.
Hi,
Then
Brazil.
cleavage is it. Hola. It's probably not that. Hi,
Yeah.
everybody. We have got a fun end of year. I'm going to say season, but that's not true. Our season carries right on into the new year, but it's the end of year show for 2024. And is it a Christmas miracle that Sarah Michelle Gellar has had to come to Buffy moment that we can talk about? Maybe. Sarah Ferguson's going to share 6 words that she carries with her that will help us all, except if we're trying to get through Kelly's trivia. It's not going to help us at all there. Kelly's trivia will have us shaking the boxes under the tree for any clue for right answers. Your 90s rewind will take us all the way back to 1992. Some vintage sounds and signature sounds of our favorite decade will be coming up in just a few. Also, there are more accolades for Beyonce that'll give her something to talk about over the holidays. Hey, pass the potatoes. You want to talk more about me? Well, yes, you do. So let's start there, Kel. More Beyonce, because she stands alone on the diamond and platinum throne in the music industry. It was just announced just a few days ago that she has the most certified titles for any female artist ever. Caps lock on ever. It was a report that was done by TMZ, so you know that the stats are on point. Beyonce seems to be having a good go at it, don't you think?
Yeah, she is on fire, and I look forward to seeing her perform on Christmas Day for the NFL game in her hometown. That's going to be amazing.
Right on.
Yeah.
Um, well, the other fun thing is like they in this article that we read, they specify going all the way back to I Am Sasha Fierce, Single Ladies, Halo, and how many what their status is of certifications that they have received. Her solo albums, the Lemonades, the Best Thing I Never Had, the Sorries, the Run the World. That's what girls do, and that's what she's doing. Clearly, add to that the fact that she's got this many certifications to make her the most certified of any female artist, that now she's won her first Billboard Country Music Award.
Boom.
So for all those, dare I say, haters,
Yeah.
those country purists, whoever they are, that say that her album shouldn't have been acknowledged, which is daft. Of course it should have been acknowledged. Anyway, so it was. So there's no stopping the power that is Beyonce.
Yep. Yep. She is fierce. She's actually Sasha Fierce.
Yeah. And it's good that she's getting the accolades that she's getting, and not to drag a dark cloud into our otherwise happy little show, Graham. But I think we're going to start to hear some stuff about her husband in the new year. That's not going to necessarily be good.
Do you think that that's accurate?
I have no reason to think anything either way. I don't know these people personally. But yes. You know what? I just sort of think with that many people coming forward in the Sean Combs case, that I think that anybody that sort of was at a party or anything has to really be looking at their history and going, okay, let's just make sure that everything's fine here. Um, I don't know. And you know what? I hope it's not. I wish none of it was happening. I wish, and everybody just had, whatever normal is, but a normal approach to life that didn't offend or affect other people in a negative and damaging way. But there are some people in the world that have done that, and they have the power and the money behind them to kind of bully their way through everything.
Mhm.
I don't think that the lawmakers and the police and every power that's keeping Sean Combs in jail is for nothing. He is a huge flight risk, and I think you think back over the course of the last 30 years or whatever of the parties and the people and I think people are probably looking through their stuff, making sure that they weren't where they thought it was fine
I
because
know.
it wasn't.
I think I didn't click into the article, but I read something, a headline, so I'll say allegedly, but I do believe it sounds like at this point, unless there's some other Hail Mary that they come up with, I think he's staying in prison, Sean Diddy Combs, until his trial.
I think I heard the same thing, that the judge is not interested in the $50 million bail
Mhm.
or posting of it, um, because he would be gone. He would be gone
I wonder where he'd go.
anywhere.
Yeah, because he has lots of kids though. Like I don't know how he'd. I mean, yeah, I
Mhm.
just don't know.
Yeah. Anyways, if we can push that dark cloud and go back to Beyonce being the powerhouse that she is, whatever happens, we'll always have Beyonce.
Yep. And she it's funny, I was interviewing Luke Hella
Mm-hmm.
today, and she obviously is very influenced by her, and just like what, and she just was saying she's like she's the basically the benchmark for, performance. Like she is, obviously I have something to say about my Janet love for that. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
but Beyonce, I think globally, uh, would be at the top of probably most people's lists of the best performer. So who would you say was the best performer in pop for you? Like female.
Madonna,
Okay.
Madonna, Mariah. I think all of them. It's hard to pick one of them, but statistically, I can see where they're giving Beyonce her due.
Yep.
I think my brain goes to impact, influence, and stuff like that, not just chart. And I'm not diminishing what Beyonce obviously has all of those things as well. But I think for my age,
Yeah.
I stretch back a little bit earlier than the 90s. So my knee jerk would be Madonna.
And mine would be Janet.
And yours would be Janet. And then there'd be the people saying, but what about Whitney? And
Yeah,
what
yeah.
about Mariah? And the great thing is that we don't actually have to choose one.
Mhm.
We can love them all.
Yep.
And we're fortunate to have had them.
Yep.
Gosh, like popular music or pop music is just popular for a reason. People like it. And
Yep.
it's impactful. What I love about how I think the industry and combined with society, and maybe I'm naive in saying this, but what I love is that it seems to have gone away from let's pit them against each other because that'll create more of a revenue forward
Yeah.
approach.
I think that's
You
gone.
don't have to do that now. I
Yeah.
don't think.
I think that's gone away to a degree, like, because I think a lot of the younger pop stars now want nothing to do with that. Like they're all very supportive of each other.
Yeah,
And I think that's great. And I think the like older ones, if you want to say, are also very supportive of each other because they've been through the ringer, so
they have to. And I think back to that documentary that was came out this year about the greatest night in pop, about We Are the World and the recording of that.
yeah.
The whole story about how Madonna wasn't invited to that
Yeah.
whole thing. Like we just look back on it and think that was so cool. All the pop stars were there until you look at the picture and go, well, she wasn't there and they weren't there. And why were they there? And all that stuff. But at that time, even it was uh, not just a popularity contest, but for Madonna not getting invited, it was intentional on the part of an executive.
Yes.
And then sidebar to that, Cyndi Lauper was who they were pushing. And Cyndi Lauper, I remember reading an article saying she wished that she had Madonna as a resource at that time when they were both coming up, because they were both coming up at the same time. She said because she found it quite lonely,
Yes.
and that for someone else to, you know, be in it and understand what was going on, but there was something behind the scenes that was preventing that friendship from happening, or
Yeah.
not even a full on friendship, but just like a resource for each other. It
Yeah.
probably would have helped Madonna too.
Yeah. Oh, a million percent. But that's why I like knowing that like these days, like a Katy Perry will reach back to, XYZ because she's been there. And even like today it was interesting speaking to Lucalla. She's Canadian pop artist, but is, doing very big things. And she actually, like a full circle moment for her, she got to write one of Katy Perry's song, like co-write one of Katy Perry's song on her latest album. She's like, I can't believe going from listening to Katy Perry growing up to then being in the same room with her was absolutely mind blowing. And it's so nice to see just the circle of love, like, because Katy
Mm-hmm.
loves it right back. It's amazing.
It's cool that way. I just emceed an event a couple of weeks ago um, that does a few shows across Canada. And one of them, it's called the Andy Kim Christmas Show. So it happened in Montreal, and I'm bringing it up for a reason, but I'll just give some background. Andy Kim was the co-writer of Sugar Sugar by the Archies, had a huge hit in the 70s called Rock Me Gently, had other hits too, but I'm just, on a global scale trying to point the ones that would strike familiar with people listening. Um, and the concept of this show is that there's a few artists and they sing a couple of songs, and it's just a fun night, and it raises money for the Children's Hospital and for an organization called the National Music Center in Canada, which houses basically all that is the past and future of Canadian music. And it's a nonprofit. So my point of bringing it up is that Sass Jordan was one of the performers. Sass had two significant albums in the 90s that are very much worth listening to. Racine and Rats, like kick butt rock and roll albums that are known beyond our country. But what was cool was that, we would go on and do the MC thing, and I'd come off, and Sass Jordan went on early and then she went on again. But she was backstage as the younger artists were coming off and saying, that was great. You did great. She was just so supportive in the moment, because you know what it's like, to be young and having to work a room that you're not familiar with, that she's done it. So it was just really cool to see someone of her experience supporting these up and comers.
Yeah, and it's interesting that I should bring it full circle too for back to Cyndi Lauper. So Luke Halla was the opener for her in Toronto and Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
So she actually talked about how she was doing sound check in Toronto, which was a huge thing for her to be performing in her hometown at Scotiabank, which she'd never done like an arena thing before. And she said when she was doing sound check, Cyndi was off to the side watching her.
Oh,
And she's like,
cool.
that meant so much to her to have like Cyndi Lauper watching her doing sound check. And then during the Detroit show, which I guess would have been, I feel like that was the second one, she had Lou come out during her set to sing Timeless with her.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And you know what, back, if I can tag on something to Cyndi Lauper, when she was here in Montreal, she had an artist named Rev open for her. You've interviewed Rev before. She's a Montreal artist, but she's doing very well kind of everywhere. And she's had a pretty good couple of years, that's for sure. But knowing that she's that supportive because she knows where she's come from and she knows what it's like, and how lonely it could probably be, or just to get that kind of not an accolade necessarily, but just a kind of a acknowledgement. Hey, that was good. It's nice that is there. It's important.
Yeah, and that's why I love because it's so funny. I think the world in many regards is like an ugly place to be, but
Can be,
knowing
yeah.
now that what was a thing in the past to pit people against each other, I don't think that flies very well anymore, except for, some rap things, I think, like the recent Drake and Kendrick Lamar thing. But
Yeah, but that's enough already. Like,
yeah,
fix it.
yeah, yeah.
It's how can it be that bad?
It's enough to get Kendrick Lamar a number one song.
Well, that's the interesting thing. It is generating exactly what they want it to generate in that situation, which is our attention.
Yeah,
And it's such a weird, like, my attention now, I'm beyond it. Like, I want, just either don't be friends
yeah.
or, shake hands and carry on.
Yeah.
but it's interesting. It's something that I guess is working for them, but
Yeah, and it was crazy too, because like I'm a big fan of Kendrick, like 1,000,000%. I am a fan of Drake as well. Like he's done amazing things, especially knowing he's from Canada. Um, but have you watched the video for Not Like Us?
no, I have not.
You should watch it, Sharon, and you should listen to the lyrics because I didn't even catch all of the like it's ridiculous how Kendrick was able to just bing, bing, zing, 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 like right at Drake. Like it's bananas. And it's like and obviously like, I do think it's not necessary for
Hmm.
any of this, for the most part. But it's crazy what a genius he is at his lyrics.
Yeah,
Like,
I
and
get that with him.
same can be said on a level for Drake. But yeah, it's I'm just glad that most of that, apart from this, it seems way because it's just lovely, especially to see and knowing. Like I remember seeing an interview with Katy Perry saying like, she wishes she had a resource when she was really in the throes of it,
Hmm.
as well. And I think it's important that she's made the decision to help people coming up behind her so they know they're not alone.
Very good.
Yep.
Well, with all of that positivity,
Yep.
we can springboard off that into trivia question mark. I
I think trivia is positive because it makes your brain work, Sharona.
think you're right. I love teasing you though.
I appreciate that. Thank you kindly. So this is our last trivia for the year. Would you like to commence with pop culture or news and politics, Sharon?
I'll go news and politics.
On what color Wednesday did the UK crash out of Europe's ERM scheme in 1992?
I'm gonna guess red. What
Oh
color
yes,
Wednesday?
Black Wednesday.
That's boring.
Yeah, I don't ever remember hearing about this. Would you? Because you were older than me.
I still am older than you, and no, I don't remember.
Okay, that's
You
fair.
were older than me back then. I'm not anymore, though.
You would have been what, 22?
What year?
No, 24. 92?
Yeah.
24? Okay.
Yep.
All right, so here is pop culture. You should get this one, Sharon.
I hope so.
Uh, what type of hat branded by Kangol was very popular in this decade? And it's not the one you think. Because like, isn't it? Is it Samuel L. Jackson that wears these hats?
Yeah.
It's not the one he wears, it's the other one.
Oh my God. I don't know. PCAP.
Oh, close. The bucket hat, remember?
Oh, like who popularized it then? Do we know?
Rappers, I think. I actually could go get two right now because I have one that says Lakers and I have one that says Charlotte Hornets. And I remember feeling so, and New Kids on the Block, I think Donnie Wahlberg used to have one of them, a bucket hat, and it was like a big,
Okay,
yeah.
well, check this out. It's not this happens to be here. I'm in my office where there's a lot going on, but this is a play on,
Oh, that's fun.
isn't it?
That's the Samuel L. Jackson Kangol version.
Yeah, here, let me try it on because that'll be
I like
fun
that.
for people watching.
Yeah.
I
Is
kind
it
of look like Che Guevara.
looks tight. Is it tight?
It is tight. I have a large head.
Yeah.
So
And
that's why it hangs here
what year
like
did
that.
you guys do that? That's like a hot.
That would have been like websites would have been new because the website is on the hat too. Um, I would have said like 98,
Okay.
97, 98
You've never showed that before. That's great. I like that
because
show.
my head is big and it doesn't fit.
Yeah, I like it.
I have a bunch of lanyards on this too.
Uh,
Anyways, artifacts. When am I going to need them? When am I going to need this glow stick? That's what I want to know. Oh, here, I
does the
can't.
glow stick still work? It hasn't gone all crusty?
No, it's a flashlight.
Oh, I like it. Look at that.
Oh, hey,
Oh, is that a
hey,
green? That's green saber? I like
you
it.
come on. Let's bring the plane this way.
By the way, it's so funny. This is just a quick sidebar, and hopefully it'll be amusing for somebody. Elaine, my better half, has recently decided that she likes to watch YouTube videos of scary airplane landings.
Oh my gosh.
Like, so there's, of course, because I'm sure you and I have talked about this before, but there's like, you can go on YouTube and look up like parking fails. So this is basically like airplane fails, and not all of them are like, deadly. But I keep telling her, I'm like, somebody died in that. Like, why are you? watching that.
Are you allowed to have that on when people
Yeah, well,
die?
you don't see like it's, you don't see it's like as if you were just watching a news, story of like a plane crashing or whatever. And I mean, again, not all of them are that. Some of them are like, and some of them are actually interesting in the fact that they do like it's almost like pilot shout out videos where like they show you pilots who have had to land in ridiculous circumstances and have managed to do it. So props to the pilots who have done their
Wow.
training. Yep.
I don't want to watch that channel.
Yeah. YouTube Premium, Sharon.
Nope.
Okay. There you
How
go.
about this? This is an early, well, it's not early. I'm delusional if I think this is an early Christmas gift. Who isn't ready for the holidays?
Yeah.
That Sarah Michelle Gellar, what's amazing is that not only is she one half of one of the longest running Hollywood marriages
Yep.
to Freddie Prinze Jr., but also she's an original superhero icon, Buffy the Vampire Slayer,
Oh, yeah.
and how she's not always been keen on going back to, Slayville. But now, after a conversation or during the conversation with Drew Barrymore, she said it's funny. I always used to say no about going back. She says, because it's in its bubble and it's so perfect. But she said after watching the sequel series to Sex and the City and to Dexter, she says she realizes there are ways to do it to definitely get your mind thinking. Well, maybe is what she's thinking.
Mhm.
So the possibilities are endless as she can see them, whether it's a prequel or a sequel, but there's so much to play with. And she said it could be anything. It's a universe. And it makes you realize that in this world, we need those heroes more so than ever before.
I wonder if she's influenced at all by her good friend who is no longer with us, Shannon Doherty, because on Shannon's podcast, she had her on one time and they talked about a bunch of things. And like, Shannon obviously was a very big proponent of her time on not only 90210, but why am I forgetting the name of the
Charmed?
Charmed, that one.
Yep.
And I wonder if that got into her hat because Shannon and Holly Marie Combs and all of them are, we're working on stuff about like keeping that alive in a way. And I
Mm-hmm.
think, and Holly, of course, was obviously very affected by Shannon's passing a few months ago. And so I think they're rejigging some things, but it sounds like they do not want to let Charmed by any stretch not still kind of be vibrant and living
Mm-hmm.
in a way. And so I'm wondering if Sarah Michelle was influenced by Shannon's passion for that.
Well, and then you have a hand in the way the legacy moves forward, right? Like
Yeah.
if you are a part of the roots of something that special that fans still care about, then you have an opportunity to be a part of how it's going to move forward.
Yeah.
Versus saying no, I don't want to revisit it, and then some goofball coming in and changing, essential parts of the machine, let's say, and have it not be recognizable.
Yeah, I
You
think you have
know,
to be very careful, but even television shows like, The Conners that has been a great reboot. I know they're actually right now in the process of seeing, I think, if Scrubs can be a reboot.
oh yeah.
And so I think, I think if it's done right and the passion's there, and the good intention is there instead of just a money grab, I think, the possibilities are endless.
Indeed. So we'll keep our fingers crossed and see what 2025 brings for Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Elsewhere in the world of iconic heroes is Sarah Ferguson.
Yeah.
Maybe not a hero. Well, maybe not a global hero, but to her family, she's a hero, no doubt about that. Sarah Ferguson, Duchess of York. Is that correct, Kel?
Yeah.
She shared the last thing that Queen Elizabeth said to her before she passed. So 6 words. She said, Sarah, remember that yourself is good enough. That's powerful,
Yeah, especially coming from the Queen.
especially coming from Queen Elizabeth.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Yeah.
To think of all the things that the Queen has had to endure when it comes to just her family,
Mhm.
just Andrew, you know? So to speak to her daughter-in-law,
Yeah.
Andrew's ex-wife,
Yeah.
remember that yourself is good enough. Because what we got to see splashed through the headlines and making news and stuff like that was, some really intimate, private struggle for Sarah Ferguson.
Mhm.
So to get that, I think, acknowledgement from her mother-in-law, who just happened to be the Queen of England, remember that yourself is good enough. And I think that for us, that's great advice for any one person.
Yeah.
So I think it's really special that she shared it, and she said um, that she called the Queen Mama,
Yeah.
which I think is super sweet because now that she's got grandkids that they call her Mama.
Oh, so
It's
cute.
so sweet, and that King Charles still calls her Fergie.
That's great.
Yeah,
That's great. I've always had a soft spot for her. I think she's great, and I think
she's human.
she's human, and I think she did a lot to personalize the royal family also. And even since she's been out, like she still kind of makes them accessible in a way, not by like ratting people out, but just kind of
Hmm.
being cool and like, she's an author and like I didn't know, and we've talked about this before, that she was like super buds with like Lisa Marie Presley. And then she went through a cancer scare recently and she was able to share that with her fans. And I just think she's a good source of inspiration for many women.
I think you're right too about the humanizing part of doing that for the royal family. What I think what we like to hear are things like that make the royals somewhat accessible. So she also went on to say about Queen Elizabeth that she knew me all my life and she loved me, which we know a lot of people get to a certain point in their adult lives where that's a that's an arrival moment. If
Yeah.
you can acknowledge that you've been loved, it's that's something, and to be seen, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
So it's nice that Queen Elizabeth. I don't think that she threw the words at her. Like, I
No.
think it's a well thought out gift that she gave Sarah Ferguson. So
And also
good
it
for her.
says it speaks volumes too, because from what I understand, I don't know if she got all of them, but I think Fergie is in charge of the corgis. Like
Oh, nice.
I think she had at least two and maybe three of them. So like that also speaks volumes, knowing that the queen, who loves her animals, her horses and her dogs, would say you're gonna take care of them, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So good for
That's
her.
cool. Very good. Are you ready for a 90s rewind, Kel?
Yeah.
Let's get to it. 1992. I'll bookend this with huge hits and give a shout out to our Kentucky Shane in the middle of it all. Because I Will Always Love You was enjoying another week at number one. We've already mentioned Whitney Houston, but there she is singing Dolly Parton's song. Mary J. Blige and Real Love. Come on. Madonna dropped her name earlier too. Deeper and Deeper. That is one of my favorite songs,
So good.
period.
So
But
good.
talk about like reading the room, you know? She could fill a dance floor in any decade. And certainly that one was, it got me moving, Kel. I'll tell you that.
To the clubs.
Yeah, I was in the clubs at that time and I was moving in the clubs.
Yeah.
So shout out to our Kentucky Shane because our one prince will throw down another hit from the Spin Doctors and Little Miss Can't Be Wrong.
That's such a great song title.
Yeah, totally that.
Mm.
How about this one? Annie Lennox is one of the great breakup songs of all time. And Walking on Broken Glass.
Boom.
Yeah, it's anthemic. You're in it. She's taking you through it.
Yeah.
You're good. Love it. And wrapping up a handful of songs from 1992 as we near the end of 2024, we go there with Boys to Men and End of the Road. Four-part harms.
Yeah.
Ah, can't even. That is your 90s rewind.
Good job, Sharon, and thank you for taking us through the entire year of
Ah,
magicalness with the rewind.
thank you very much. Thanks to everybody for listening. We always like to thank you at the end, but certainly at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Um, we're super happy that you pick us. You don't even necessarily have to pick us over anybody else. There's room for everybody to have space as a part of your day or part of your week or part of your month or whatever. We appreciate it very much.
Yeah.
So wherever you find 90s now, we just happen to be everywhere.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing that. We appreciate it.
And I did want to mention also, Sharon, because it's holiday time. Have you seen the new documentary that's out about Wham and Last Christmas Unwrapped?
Not yet. It's on my list.
So please watch it. It's amazing, and I found it by accident. I didn't even know it was out. And I will just say that Kelly got pretty teary-eyed at the end.
I bet.
Yeah, because I love George Michael so much, and it was so great to hear his former bandmates, not just Andrew,
Hmm.
talking about him in this documentary. And yeah, I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but like, please watch it, and please know that he's still around.
No
So
doubt. Now, do you remember where it's streaming?
yeah, Netflix.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah,
I did see Andrew Ridgely on the Rockefeller Center Christmas special a few weeks ago for the tree lighting, and he
yeah.
gave Kelly a vinyl copy of Last Christmas.
Oh,
Yeah, so that was really cool.
that's amazing.
So may your stockings be stuffed, may your candles be lit, and may things be great to wrap up 2024. Thank you for being a part of ours. Here's to taking on a brand new year with all the good stuff and making sure that we are on the right track heading into a new year. Happy holidays, everybody. And thank you for listening to 90s Now. Still happening.